are here today with coming to you live. Well, not live, but this is recorded, I guess, but live for us with Christian and Diego from our Salesforce Tower location in Chicago, Illinois. And today they are talking a little bit about men's health, because and very broad topic. I'm sure they'll narrow it down for us to something or another. But yeah, June is Men's Health Awareness Month, so they're gonna kind of make that the point of this podcast episode. So we hope you guys enjoy. And with that, I'll have you guys take it away.
Thank you, Haley. So yeah, this is Men's Health Month. You know, it's time of the kings, and not many people talk about men's mental health. Actually, men don't even talk about men's mental health that much.
No, they don't.
But before we get started, although we did get an introduction, just give a little background about each other and let everyone
Sure.
give yourself a background where you come from, what you do, things like that.
All right. So as you heard, he referred to me as Leche. It's not my birth given name. It's actually Christian. It's just my nickname. But I'm originally from Maryland. Went to the University of Dayton to get my undergraduate degree in exercise science. And then following that, I actually did some personal training, like specialized personal training for like super slow motion strength training. Following that, I went to graduate school at George Washington University. I got my master's degree in exercise science and strength and conditioning. Following that, I got an internship up in Connecticut with a place called Prentice Hockey Performance. So I got to work with a lot of NHL athletes, basically minor league athletes as well, or minor league athletes with hockey. An Olympic level bobsled athlete who was on USA bobsled team. And then various other sports as well. So big into the athletic world, kind of how I started my career. Then was hired as a coach there. And then following that, I left. And then I actually came out to Chicago where I was working for the strength coach of the Chicago Blackhawks for his separate company called Goodman Elite Training, where we train a lot of like the elite level youth hockey athletes around here. Again, with various other sports included. A lot of people think that sports are very like sport specific training where it's not really the case. It's kind of like you want to get people bigger, stronger, faster, and that goes with any kind of sport. And then after I left that place, I got my job here. I still do some strength and conditioning kind of on the side, specifically for ice hockey players too, with a company called GVN Performance. They have a lot of clientele around the Chicago area, but they also have like the United States National Development Program out in Michigan. And that's kind of like the best of the best kids, basically under 18, that go out and play for that team and get recruited for it. And yeah, and now I'm at Salesforce Tower. This is I think at the time of this coming out, it'll be my 5th month, but congratulations. It's my 4th month. Yeah. And I love it. It's great. Diego, your turn. Art Cafe.
First of all, yes. Also, sorry about that.
Oh, nice.
It's just so used to calling you Leche, you know?
I know.
And it makes sense that that team was under 18 because I was like, why am I not on the team? But I'm over 18. So no wonder I didn't make it. Okay. But yes, wonderful stuff. I actually don't come from a training background. I recently got into training about maybe 6 years ago. I went to UTRGV. I studied communications because, you know, I was like, let me learn how to chit chat. That was my big goal. Like, communicate with the world. How easy could it be? But then pandemic happened and I pivoted to a place called East Bank Club, is where I first got my gym career started, or my gym internship, some might call it. Wonderful gym. And I learned a lot of things, started to gravitate more and more into training. And from there on in, I kind of expanded out. I went to become a personal trainer. And then
Wait, Diego.
Yes.
You just got like really quiet, like when you started talking. So I don't know if it's like how you're sitting or like, because I could hear Christian and then you kind of started.
About now?
Be more proud when you speak.
Actually, Christian's quiet now too. So it might just be me also. That is okay as well. I think it'll be okay.
Well,
figure it out, Haley. Come on.
It's okay. Before I was rudely interrupted, you know, I gotta speak with confidence. And actually, we're gonna take a quick little breather. 1 quick second.
Yeah.
Pausing.
I can hear Haley, but I can't hear you.
Chef says hi.
So we had a special guest there, our actually general manager, who's fantastic as well. Let that be known. Sorry for being a little quiet. It's a confidence thing. We're working for it, but luckily training has helped me with that too. We'll get into that later. But as my background goes, yes, so I started the East Bank Club, you know, learning there, worked under a crazy amount of good trainers, all over the board. Shout out to all of them. I won't give out any names. And then from there on in, I kind of went to go become my own trainer. So I worked at a few other gyms, and then I went to go into work underneath a few other people. So to learn about athletes and things like that as well. And after I was kind of done with that, I kind of wanted a little bit into a different realm. So I came into the corporate world, which I've been with Kanima for soon to be a year, you know, here at the Salesforce Tower, where I met our wonderful boss. Shout out Amanda. And again, you can't tell who's who because we look similar, but this is where I met Christian as well. And together we just kind of do our own thing here, and we still mix in training styles here and there, but we're always learning from each other. So the information in the background always keeps growing on our end. Let that be known. Yeah. So just because today we're probably going to learn more tomorrow, and the background will grow. But that's kind of our introductions of how we got into training itself.
Yeah.
Now, here at the Salesforce Tower, we have kind of two tenants, by the way. Forgive me for calling the Salesforce Tower. It's the Wolf Point Wellness. Wolf Point Plaza is our gym name. We have two different tenants of Kirkland Nellis, and we have Salesforce. So we have night and day, and technically we see a good amount of people from different backgrounds from that enter our gym, which is wonderful. I love seeing them. Yeah. Wonderful tenants. Great time, great time. Now, most of this is men's we're going to touch on men's mental health month. And what we see here, at least my clientele, I'm not sure about yours yet, but most of mine are men. So rarely do we talk about men's mental health. Do you and your clients talk about men's mental health?
Not really. No, it's definitely a topic that gets swept under the rug a little bit, but definitely needs some more awareness.
The thing is, we don't talk about it a lot of the times only because I don't ask. So a lot of people don't even ask us why we work out. Like, why do you work out itself? Like working out in general and connecting this with men's mental health.
Working out, I originally got into it like during high school. I grew up playing ice hockey my whole life. I wanted to be kind of good at it.
Which working out, great. Let it be known.
You haven't even seen me on the ice. But working out, you know, it helps, you know, with your in-sport performance. So that's how I originally got into it in high school. Kind of fell in love with it. And then that's when I kind of really, like, my aspirations were originally to become a strength coach in the NHL. Obviously, my path has kind of shifted in ways just because I grew up, matured a little bit, found out kind of like what I like more. And I think that's what I like is basically helping more people achieve kind of what they want to get to in terms of like a health related aspect. And I feel like I can have a lot more impact on that on the everyday person rather than, you know, a professional player in the NHL who's kind of, you know, already there. I'm kind of would be there for like maintenance more so. But why I work out, I mean, other than feeling good, I've had a lot of injuries in my past. And if I don't work out, I feel like crap. So I want to continue to feel well. I want to feel athletic. That's a big reason of why I work out. I don't want to lose the ability to just do everyday things. I want everyday things to feel easy. 28 years old now, there are times where it's like you can feel the age getting there, but it's like we aren't getting any younger. So the more work I put in, the more I'll get out of it. You know, the longer I'll last. I think that's a big thing that I've always had in the back of my head. It's like I don't want to travel the world and do stuff when I'm like old and decrepit. I want to be able to do it now and do all those things and explore.
Fun word.
Thank you. Big word, you know.
But would you say your working out has the reason why you work out has really helped you on your like mental health process itself?
Yes, it's definitely kind of, I don't want to say an escape, but it's a nice spot. Kind of like when I play ice hockey. It's like when you're on the ice or you're in the gym, you kind of lose track of everything else in a good way. Like stresses of the real world aren't really, you know, there anymore. And you get to kind of just be with yourself or be with friends, you know. I think camaraderie in the gym's a huge component to it. Helps a lot with mental health. Everyone needs a friend to talk to, even if it's just joking around. But that's kind of like why I work out. It's a nice escape. Can't get on the ice as much as often. Very expensive to get on the ice. So going to the gym, a lot cheaper. But yeah,
a lot more fun.
Well, sometimes.
Workouts are rough, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I also work out is just my mental health to keep it in check.
Yeah.
Because I am always in pain. I have a term called osteochondroma, which,
Goodness.
my lovely mother gave to me, which is totally cool. Shout out, Mom,
It's totally cool.
Luckily, because of working out, I've learned to manage the pain. And
Yeah.
because I manage the pain, my mental health has skyrocketed to a top high.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons because before actually I got into the gym or East Bank Club, I didn't work out at all.
Yeah.
What do I lift? Maybe a pizza inside my mouth. That's it.
There you go.
And that pizza slice. That's
We
about it.
still occasionally do that.
I do it more times than I like to. Yeah. Actually, I don't. I do not enough times. But same thing with all my clients. I ask them like when before here, because a trainer to me seems like that buddy you have at the gym that you talked about. You know, like hey, like I don't have anybody to vent to, and at least most men don't do therapy yet and things like that. So also one of the benefits from training or with someone is you're just there and you're kind of just venting, and now you're getting things released off the chest. You're getting even benefits from the gym. So it's a 2-in-1, to be quite honest. Because a lot of my clients at least vent to me.
Yeah.
And sometimes my job's not even training, it's just listening.
Yeah.
I'm like,
100%.
Hey man, you owe me 12 reps, but I'm glad, keep going. We'll get to those 12 reps when we can. Yeah. But if you need to vent it out, this is your time.
Comes with a job. Like people will do that. The guys will do it. It's like, I don't know if we're allowed to cuss, so you can like bleep this out, but like it's shoot the shit, That's what I think a lot of the guys do. A lot of my guy clients here, they come down and like one thing I want them to talk more, but get them talking about like, I want to know how they're doing. Like, how do you feel? Like, especially with like a training program. So if I'm designing this program specifically for them, I want to know that they're feeling good and not just feeling like crap, like after the workout, or not feeling stronger or anything like that. So that's definitely something like every week I'm gonna ask, how you feeling? If they're a golfer of some sort. So how'd you play this weekend? Like, do you feel like you felt stronger? Even if it's so much of like, oh, I carried my golf bag a few more holes than I normally did rather than, taking the cart. That's a huge step. I had one of my clients, he was talking about how he had to like hold up, I think it was either a garbage bag or something for his wife. And he was just like, yeah, it was very easy to like just hold it there. I could have done it for like 10 minutes. But like a few weeks ago, he couldn't have done that. Courtesy of Fat Grips. This is not sponsored. But they hate the exercise during it, or like using something, but then they notice the actual change or the adaptation later on. So I think that's a huge part, and like that gets the people talking. They feel it's a tiny success, but those tiny successes, they add up and they accumulate.
That's how an avalanche starts. One
Exactly.
snowflake, let me tell you.
So it's just helping any way we can, and physically helps a lot more in the mental aspect than a lot of people think.
Because even mental health, especially when it comes to our workouts and we program, you gotta make sure you feel good. Because some pain is not even physical pain; it's neurological.
Yeah.
So there's this theory of a coffee cup, right? And it overflows. Cafe. Oh my God! I didn't even mean to do that pun. What a great time! But this coffee cup, if it overflows, is it actually liquid? Is there something else in there that are other things that are overflowing it? So is it all physical, or is it like stress? Is it just bad sleep? Like things like that can also overfill your cup, and eventually, if you fill it up too much, it starts spilling everywhere. And it wasn't just a physical thing that had it this way; it had other things that added in that spilled it over. So it's really vital, especially to try to get them to vent in our sessions and ask them just to make sure it's like, hey, your low back hurts, but I'm not saying anything that correlates to what can be a low back injury. So tell me about your day. What happened? And if someone's like, oh, I got in a car accident, I wasn't injured, but I lost a lot of money, I was like, wow, I'm not. All right, let's start here. And then we pick up, that's just an example. No, I'm just,
no one's gotten into a car accident.
And I have trained them, so.
But I think this is good, like, segue kind of into, like, I guess my training philosophy behind it. A lot of the people, when you get older, you get more mature, and it's like, all right, I'm not going to be a professional athlete anymore, but I want to still be able to do things that are everyday life activities, and just feel good doing them. Picking up the trash or taking out the trash shouldn't be hurting your lower back. So if it is hurting your lower back and you're under the age, of 50 years old, you've got to do something about it. So I think tying in like kind of what I've just said about like how I train and like what I do with people is like I make sure that they feel good in what they're doing in everyday life. Even if that is just like a sport they have on the side, like a hobby, like golf is like a big one, I think, nowadays, especially just for Men over the age of like 20. I think when you get into your 20s, like you're supposed to do one of four things: pickleball, golf, marathon running, or cycling. Like those are the four things. It's like pick one, and like that's your hobby, and describe your.
Everybody gets the option. It's not like, oh, I pick something else. That's not reading. That's what you're for.
But like that's the whole point. It's like I want you to feel good while you're doing that, and not feel like you're playing catch up with everyone else that you're trying to compete with in a way. So yeah, in terms of my training philosophy, I really believe in just making sure that you're feeling good about it, not getting injured. That's the number one thing. Injuries, coming back from any sort of injury, it only takes longer, and it's going to be more gruesome in terms of recovery. Gruesome might be a bit of an extreme word.
It might be rough. A little rough.
The recovery is going to be rough. We're not young anymore. We don't have the testosterone just zooming through us. We don't have all this collagen production that we used to have.
Loosey-goosey in the joints.
Exactly.
Used to be,
So it takes a little bit longer. So I want safety first. Safety always first. No one needs to be injured. But then also just getting stronger. And it takes time. It's not just, I can go work out for 4 weeks and then I'll make it, or I'll improve my mile time for like the rest of my life. You got to keep working at it. It's not a sprint.
I tell people it's not a game of inches, it's a game of millimeters. Like that's how small our progress is.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, same thing here is where I tell everybody all the time, which even till this day I still use this, where pain, yeah, it's temporary, but so's progress. I don't know who told you progress is forever. I don't know where that myth came from. Now it's going to last, but eventually our muscle does go away. There's nothing we can do about it. It just comes with the territory of aging. So 70, 80, 90, just slowly but surely it slips away. So my fight really isn't with like, oh, we're going to be 100% healthy 24/7. My fight's really fighting Father Time, and he's undefeated. So I'm just trying to get him a run for his money. So if Father Time wants to take you at 70, my job's to say, I'm going to push it to 80. So trying to make him stronger, because at least I don't like working out. Like I don't go in there and I like it, like the whole thing of itself. Like I think it's tiring. I like training. I love training. I love changing people's day. I love trying to teach something new. I love that aspect of it. But when I have to put in work to my own body, I'm not a big fan. Yeah. But I do understand it's like a part-time job, bills to pay with my body. I want to be healthy. I want to try to live as long as possible. So I got to put in work like a car. It needs maintenance. And even my mental health needs maintenance, but physical and mental, they go both hand in hand. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I put in work, and I want everybody I work with just to move. Yeah. I need them to move, even if it's quote unquote bad form. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hey, I understand it's bad form, but bad form is still better than no form. The only thing is we're going to change how we load the amount we manage you under. So it's rarely the poison that kills you, it's the dosage. So if I put you in 225 immediately in bad form, yeah, you're probably going to hurt yourself. But if I give you 10 pounds bad form, I don't think you will hurt yourself. And now if I slowly
what lift are we talking about?
I'm talking about, let's say, everyday forms that translate out there. Like I have a client who lifts not the best, but I keep her from away from back pain. I just tell her to do your best. Do your best. And now, because she goes to Costco, she goes to all these things, and she's not really, I think everybody, things like that. So I don't want you to hurt yourself in those things. So we're going to put you in that form. We're just going to put some load underneath it, but we're not going to put crazy amount of load. We're going to put enough load to protect you.
We use a low enough load to perfect form, and then we can add load once form is correct.
That's the thing with load. I want to make sure I keep it safe because, again, you don't go into the gym. Mental health is a little bit away from the gym. It starts to get even weaker that we already have it. So that's also a thing I'm trying to protect it with, because I need your mental health and your physical health to be the same, or hopefully the same. In my mind, the same, meaning we're doing everything we can to protect it and moderate it and making sure it's cultivated in a great environment.
Yeah, I would say one thing is like physical health is good. There can be people physically fit and all this stuff, but that doesn't necessarily attribute specifically to like improved mental health. But I will say that it does correlate in the right direction. So like no matter what, if your body feels good, you're going to feel good no matter what, just overall. And that's like a step in the right direction. Not saying that it, solves all problems, but I think it'll solve a lot of problems. So just getting in the gym, moving, like you got to get the endorphins going. Like your body craves it. And like once you do it, just get on like a rhythm. You're going to be chasing it, you know, and it doesn't stop.
Motion creates motion, you know?
Yeah.
If you keep one small victory, like you said, it's eventually going to build. And now these little victories are going to kick in.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, that smile is going to get bigger. It's going to get wider.
Yeah.
And you're going to cramp up in your cheeks. Because I was like, dude, I've been happy this whole time because I've been putting in work here. And technically, a lot of studies have been shown that work inside the gym, physical activity, let's just say physical activity, has correlation with feeling good, even job, feeling good overall in everyday living or outside where it comes to relations, friendships, social, things like that. So I think that's also very important that people don't understand is physical activity isn't the obviously main key. There's other things that go on, but it's a really big part of the key where it's like, hey, this is going to start up a lot of things for you, at least give you a good push in the right directions with a huge chunk of momentum. But the only part is the exercises, which I get, I understand. Going to the gym at times can be daunting, but luckily for us, there's trainers all over the world. You know, even trainers have trainers. You know, I work with other trainers. I train other trainers. It's a whole great environment that we provide. But as far as that goes, like, is there an exercise you would recommend to the overall everyday person that you love? Like, hey, man, if you're getting into exercise, or if you really want to jump into exercise, here's my favorite exercise that I want to give you.
Favorite specific exercise, I would say would be like the Poliquin split squat. So it's like a traditional split squat, but you're more so just driving your front knee over your toe to just basically get maximum knee flexion, which elicits more muscle growth. But that's like the sciencey kind of nerd stuff behind it. But just in terms of like mental health, I would say the best exercise in terms of mental health would be any version of a squat. I mean, the back squat, when you do a back squat, it's going to elicit the most like actual growth hormone release and like increase in testosterone. And that's just, it does the work for you in terms of mental health. If you have more of that going, you're going to feel better. So, I mean, any version of a squat is great for men. And that almost like when you talk about your favorite exercise, will segue us into like the next topic of like we had planned of men's mental health and like the infamous quote of skipping leg day. But we'll come back to that. So, what's Diego's favorite exercise?
Dude, I'm so glad you asked me.
Oh, yeah.
Because in class, shout out to everybody who comes to my class, by the way, great time. In class, no matter which class I teach, or no matter who I have, I put this exercise to everybody. Powerlifters, bodybuilders, athletes, general populations, new people, advanced people, the push-up. Yeah. I think it's the most fundamental push movement. You can get crazy with it. Obviously, this doesn't have to be a regular push-up. It can be a loaded push-up, banded push-up, wide push-up, closed grip push-up. So many different things, but the push-up to me, oh my goodness. And especially great because you can take it anywhere. Like as long as you have these two things, you know, you can do some. And with these two things, high-five yourself and be like, all right, we just did a few push-ups. Yeah. And it's crazy how a push-up, it seems so simple. Once you progress it, people are like, oh my God, I can do push-ups now. Because even a lot of men, a lot of the clients I had when they first started, their push-ups did not look good. They looked, I was like, what are we doing? Yeah. And I was like, don't worry, that's why you came to me. I'm here to help. And then when they're doing their push-ups, they're like, holy crap. And now we're doing more advanced push-up, like a chaos push-up. And the thing is that push-up is just a small victory. Again, like your split squat, it's great. Feels great when you do it and you do tons of it. It's just one of those things that, hey, once I master this and I can do it anywhere, anytime.
Yeah. And that's also like, it comes back and ties into like the men's mental health and the small victories of like a lot of the clients that I work with here, they've never done any of the stuff that I'm showing them or doing with them. And a lot of those exercises, yeah, they hate it during it because it sucks. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But you got to put in the work if you want, you know, some reward out of it. And the reward is feeling better. But like getting people, like I have people on a program where you're going to do split squats to build up, you know, strength in each of the legs. Because a lot of people, as we get older, we tend to compensate on one side of the body versus the other side of the body. Yeah. So you're always going to see like discrepancies between the two legs. Like one's going to be a lot stronger than the other. But after I take them through a program of 4 weeks where you're doing unilateral work, then this next phase, all right, we're going to do some bilateral stuff. And they they just realize how easy it is to do stuff now, like how much more weight they can put on a bar if they're doing like a front squat or a back squat. And it's just easy. But right there, you don't even have to see them say something or hear them say something. You can see it in their face by like they're surprised by it. Like they feel explosive, they're quick to it, and it's a good feeling.
And the thing is, when we show them new exercises, like, oh yeah, we tell them the stories, like I used to do this athlete, do that athlete. You can see it was like, holy crap, I just did something an athlete did.
Yeah,
exactly. I was like, dude, I'm telling you, you can do it too.
That's a big part of it too. I think that's very, very thankful for like all the opportunities I've had for the athletes that I've been able to work with. But being able to tell someone like, oh yeah, this guy on this team does this, and you're doing it right now. So like, as just a normal everyday person, that probably feels awesome. Like I'm doing what a professional athlete is doing.
People don't realize they bleed just like we bleed, and they cry just like we cry, and they have mental health like they have mental.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's a wonderful time. But yes, the legs things that we're going to segue back into is big thing inside. I think most gyms at least have I would say 50%. It's like every gym. It's every gym, to be honest. Even this gym, some of my clients I have to bully them into doing it.
Oh yeah.
Which is a leg day. So the last time we're going to talk about the leg day, because one of these things is it's half our body, you know, in the sense it's kind of a half our body.
For me, it's more than half my. I think it's like 65% of my body.
Well, even that 65% of your body. For me, I'm not that tall, short king, so it's like
I have the Mike Wazowski build, the long legs, short, stocky upper.
You know, I have the walk in the straight line, but I keep crooked build. You know, one leg longer than the other. If I mess around, I'll walk in circles my whole life. You know, but I focus up. But yes, skipping leg day is one of the biggest things that most men even do the day, and it's kind of a big. I wouldn't say it's a trend because I don't think people want to skip it. I don't think people want to skip it. They just don't look forward to it, so they do skip it because they love upper body more, which is fine. My favorite exercise is an upper body besides lower body.
I mean, you feel better when you get a pump in your upper body versus your lower body, but that's only because you stuck to doing upper body all the time. And if over time you do, incorporate your legs, get a routine with it, you start to enjoy the leg pump. The leg pump is, in my opinion, I like it more than the upper body pump, but
which is good too. It's real great. Which one of the things also with pain comes a lot of the mental health struggles as well. So if you have like low back pain, things like that.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest reasons for low back pain is weak legs.
Yep.
Weak legs is one of the biggest things. So low back pain comes. For most of the people I worked with who came to me with low back pain, rarely was it actually the low back that was bothering. Maybe one person had an actual low back pain. Everybody else, the answer, legs.
Yep.
Legs.
And I know a lot of people, especially Gen Pop clients, a lot of them have had injuries in the past of like, oh, I've tweaked my lower back squatting or something like that. So then they tend to avoid it altogether. And like, if the only thing they really do for legs would be like a 3x10 for leg press and a 3x10 for leg extensions, where it's like, it's not the right and enough stimulus. I mean, in terms of like what you want, like your lower back's not going to get any better from those types of things. So it comes with a lot more, experience and training. Like you gotta work towards it, and an injury may happen, especially if you're inexperienced, but that's what they hire us for.
Exactly. And one of the things that really stop people from once they do that tweak is one of the biggest injuries or problems of the injuries is remembering you had that injury. So a lot of people will stay away from it because, oh, it's not safe. I don't want to do it again. And it's really hard to do it over and over unless you have like an ego problem where I'm going to put up a ton of weight, because a sneeze and a 11 rep max have basically the same level of exertion. Yep. So if you can survive a sneeze and not tweak yourself, there's chances, depending, obviously if you don't do it every single day, things like that, if you do a 1 rep max, you probably won't have a severe injury just tweaking something. And then that tweak is going to be enough to take you down for at least a while.
We're going to pause. I think we have a knock on the door. Hello?
Chef?
Maybe not.
So we're going to actually...
continuing on.
That was actually the last part of our
topic.
That was
the last part. Oh my goodness.
So thank you all for tuning in to our first podcast here with Kanima Be Well virtual platform. My name is Diego. This is Christian. Together we're Cafe Con Leche is our nicknames.
Oh,
Spread the word. Follow us on Kanima Fitness to see what else we do within our company. We would love to take any questions as well. So if you do have questions, please leave them in the comments on the section below. Ask us anything. It could be about fitness. It can be about men's mental health. It can be something related on health. As far as we can answer it, we will. So if it's something that we don't know, we will let you know. But if it's something within our scope, then we'll do our best to get back to you.
Yep.
But other than that, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you had a great time.